why can't you just read Revelation linearly and be like, okay, well, it's saying this, and this are going to happen. And then it's saying after those things happen, this, and this are going to happen. And then finally, there's a cube that comes. Why can't you just follow it like linearly? And sure, then you could go to, then there's other passages, right? Thessalonians, Mathew, all over the place, where there's these little like tidbits, but don't those all point to this book?
And that's the thing. If you're gonna say Matthew 24, Daniel chapter 7, Daniel chapter 9, for Second Thessalonians chapter 2, all point to the book of Revelation, right? Then you have three options, really, because I'm going to throw your option in here. The first option is that it was fulfilled, because those all point to the destruction of Jerusalem and the desolation, which happened in AD, right?
AD 70.
So you're like, cool. The second option is like, all those passages, every single one of them is futuristic. None of them refer to the AD 70 motif.
Okay.
That's the second option. And the reason why you have that second option is because you're trying to be consistent with Ezekiel's interpretation, because it's all there in John. You got Zechariah chapter 4, you got Zechariah 12, Jeremiah's prophecies, you got John's, you got Isaiah's, you got,
and you're saying it's all there because John is obviously using the same language as these other passages, right?
John is doing the same thing.
Where's the inconsistency in my view that it can be referring to AD 70 and a future event?
So the inconsistency is not that you believe in a dual fulfillment, right? Because when you say, if anything you say is dual fulfillment, the only thing that can't really be a dual fulfillment is like the first advent, right? Because Christ already came and he died on the cross. You can't say like, oh, he's going to do that twice. You're not going to, that's an impossibility, right? But to say like, oh, this prophecy of the destruction of Jerusalem, people fleeing to Judea, all this stuff can happen again. It's like, that's a stretch. I can't say absolutely not, because God can do whatever he wants.
So you're putting it on par. You're putting that perspective on par with, well, God could do anything he wants.
That's it. It's like, it's just like, oh, because he can do whatever he wants. If he wants to duplicate that story again, cool, have at it. In the future, he'll duplicate it. All I'm saying is the dual fulfillment aspect is a mystery that can only be understood or revealed when it happens again.
Totally.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the point is, you don't know at the same time fulfillment at the time. You don't know it's a dual fulfillment. At the same time,
you're right. You're totally right. I agree with you on that. That's why even when one of our first weeks, I was even saying most prophecies you don't know until they're fulfilled. Like that's just the way these things work, right? But at the same time, with dual fulfillments that are messianic, maybe even with Revelation, again, this is what happened here, which in my opinion was Isaiah knew that it was going to be a boy. That's the prophecy, or that's the testing of God and how he proved that God's faithful or whatnot. That's a minuscule foreshadowing or fulfillment of the big picture of what the Messiah did. He was born of a virgin. He did fulfill all these other things that were told about him, right? Which is the big fulfillment of the prophecy. Him but him knowing the gender here was still a fulfillment of this, but just on a minute level compared to what utterly happened, right? And that's kind of how I see a dual fulfillment in Revelation. Jerusalem was destroyed. It was bad. It was bloody. They got kicked out of their land, blah, blah, blah. But that's going to happen on a much bigger, grander scale at the end of days. And the only reason I jumped to that conclusion, the only reason I say, because you said it a couple of weeks ago, you're like, oh, well, then you know a mystery that nobody else does. And sure, God could do anything he wants, right? I'm not trying to like find a mystery that's been revealed only to me. What the reason I say that it might be dual fulfillment is because there's a lot of stuff in Revelation that's not fulfilled in AD 70. So I'm like, oh, well, if it wasn't fulfilled in AD 70, then maybe it's still to be fulfilled. So, because again, half of it looks like it was fulfilled in AD 70. Then the other half, I don't think so.
Right. And it would just be the hard work of you saying, I know for a fact this wasn't fulfilled because, and then you have to give that reasoning. And
There's
the
no
only
cube of
answer,
cheese, Ellie.
we got cheese, we got cubes today, man. We got grocery stores full of them. So,
There's
and
no
I
cube.
guarantee you, if we
There's
put
no
them all together, it's
peace.
1,500 miles.
There's still death. There's still there's so much. The two freaking witnesses. There's just so much.